Hey guys, welcome back to my channel SAP with IK. Hope you're all doing good. So today we'll be talking about the data migration approach, and there are few methods where we can actually upload the data into SAP. And here we are talking about the approach of LSMW, or also called as the Legacy System Migration Workbench. So apart from the LSMW, we also have the latest versions of the migration objects, the migration approach, such as the LTMC and as well as the migrate your data. So these versions are basically provided by SAP in the upgraded versions of the SAP S/4HANA. So we'll take a look at those the migration approach as well in our coming videos. So I'll be making a series of videos with the data migration that covers LSMW, LTMC, and as well as migrate your data application. So in this video, we'll just talk about the LSMW process. So here, as you can see on my screen, we have a sequenced flow of data flowing through the system, or by using different methods while uploading the data into SAP. So when we look at this presentation, we can see that it basically starts with the legacy data on the PC or the application server. So here we are going to use the legacy data on the PC approach by using a file template that basically uploads the data into SAP. So when we start using the LSMW, we first need to define the structure relationships, the field assignment, and the conversion rules. So these things we are going to discuss while we create the project in LSMW. So once we have these relationships and the field assignment done in the project, we are going to move that to the converted data. So once we have the raw data specified in our Excel sheet, so then we are going to upload it by using the option of legacy data on the PC. And then that particular data will be imported into SAP system, and then we are going to review the imported data, and then we are going to convert the data. Okay, so after the conversion of data, again we have the possibility, an option basically to review the data that has been converted in. And once the data has been converted into SAP or the upload method, so then we have various options like batch input processing, direct input processing, and also inbound IDOC processing. So these processing methods are actually available in the standard SAP, and that depends on how you want to upload or how you want to process the data that should be uploaded into the SAP system. Okay, so now let's first this is a high level overview of how the data will be managed in SAP and the sequence of steps that we'll have to perform. So the first thing that we are going to do now is to create a project in LSMW and complete this particular step. So now let's go into SAP and try to upload some data. So we'll take an example of maybe creating a work center using the LSMW recording, and we'll also see how to create an LSMW recording to create any master data. So let me switch over to the SAP screen. So here I am. So to create the LSMW recording, the first thing I'll have to do is to go into the transaction LSMW. Now you have to create a project. So here my project is going to be PP master data, and my sub project would be something like a work center, and then my object is going to be a work center, and then click on create. So here it is asking me to enter the description of the project, PP master data. Okay, let me use PP master data new. Okay, so PP master underscore WC. So this is for work center, and then work center. So this is the name of my project that I'm going to create to create a new work center. And now click on execute. So the first thing we'll see is to define the object attributes. So this is the first step, where you have these multiple options whether to choose a batch input recording or to use a direct input or to use a BAPI or maybe an IDOC. So there are few objects, something like a bill of material, where SAP has already provided the direct input method with the program. So you can directly apply that particular program and start creating the bill of material data. But for now, in this session, we're going to see how to create an LSMW recording manually. So then we have to choose this radio button, the bash input recording, and click on the overview icon. So here we are going to create a new recording. So once you click on that icon, you will have this pop-up window where you can enter the name of the recording. So here it will be work center, and create work center is the description. Continue. So the next pop-up window, it will ask you the transaction. So the transaction to create a work center is CR01. So I've entered the transaction code CR01. Now click on continue. So now it takes us to the creation screen of the work center. So the work center I'm going to create now is test 1000 is my work center. And the work center category I'm going to choose is this is a machine. Now, instead of hitting on enter, it is better to practice to click on this icon whenever you perform a recording in the LSMW. And now the description of the work center test. The work center category has been copied from our initial screen, and then the work center responsible. I'll use this. And then the standard value key. Let's use SAP1. And then click on continue, the icon here again. Okay, continue. And the next tab of the default values, we can assign the control key. So where I'm going to assign the control key as PP01 and continue. Capacities, test work center, the capacity planner group. I'll choose it from here, and then the base unit of measure, it will be in hours, and then continue. And we have another field, the capacity utilization as 100%. The start time is at 7 AM and the finish time is at 12 PM. So let me use it in the 24-hour format, and the length of break is 1 hour, and the number of individual capacities is 1 individual capacity. Continue. And then the scheduling. So the scheduling, I'm going to leave it as blank. Okay, it is a mandatory. So the capacity category that we entered is a machine. Enter. And now the cost center. Let me choose from what is available. $1,000 and continue. Now click on save. So now we have maintained a particular transaction during our recording process. So the next step is that the recording, it basically captures each and every field that has been used during the recording process. So I'm going to click on default all. So these are the fields, and let's take an Excel and then copy all these fields. Sorry, I'll just copy the technical names first. Transpose. And if you also want to have these descriptions, you can also copy that. Okay, and now the person responsible for work center, if you want to have it, you can assign that person responsible, and then the standard value key. So you will come to know where we actually will need the information of these fields that we are copying now. And then the control key. And then the capacity short text. Now the capacity planner group. The start time and the finish time. And the capacity utilization rate. And the cumulative length of break. I'll take it as length of break. And number of individual capacities. And the unit of measure. And here we have the unit of measure for the capacity, which is in hours. This is the base unit of measurement for capacity. And these are the indicators, the capacity relevant to finite scheduling and the long-term planning. Let's scroll down, we will have more details on this is for the scheduling, I guess. The capacity category. And this is in the costing view, where you have the start date, the end date. This is the start date. And then you have the end date. And this is the cost center. Okay. So let's try to, we will save this Excel for later. And the next step is basically to assign the source structure. So go to the change mode, create a source structure, like create work center. Okay, it says we should not have a space, so I'll use underscore. Save. Now to the source fields. So here we are going to assign the source fields one by one, and here we are going to use this option for the table maintenance. So in this screen, you will have to upload all the source, the fields that you would like to capture during the recording. So what I'll do, I'll just paste them in the transpose. So these are my fields. So I'm going to copy and paste it over here. And then you'll have the type of this field, if it is a character or a numeric. So I'm going to assign character. So copy and then paste. And then we'll have the length of this particular field. So let's say I'll give it as 10. Sorry, for plant it is only 4 characters, right? So I'm going to give it as 4, but there is no harm if you give more than the specified requirement. So next the work center is 10. So let's do one thing. We'll assign 10 as default for all these fields. It would be easy for us to actually copy and paste it. Okay, now hit on enter. Oh, I pasted an extra entry. So what I'll do, I'll just enter this dummy data here. And let's delete this. Okay, as you can see, the descriptions have been copied automatically, few of them. So what I'll do, I'm going to paste the description as well. These have been copied in a sequence. So let me transpose. And let's paste it over here. These are my descriptions. Okay, now click on save. So now we have defined all the fields that are actually used in the recording, and that will be entered by us in the upload file. Okay, so we are going to provide data in these for these fields actually. And then next, define source relations. There is nothing to do actually. It's actually creating a relation with the structure and the source. And now we are going to do a field mapping. So in the field mapping, these are the fields that we have entered, and we should assign the fields that we have maintained in our previous step. So I have to just select this particular field and click on assign a source field. And here I'm going to map the works with plant. That is assigned. And next the work center with work center. And next work center category with work center category. And next the object name. So here we are not using object name. So let's go to the next one. The person responsible with person responsible. And then the standard value key with the standard value key. And now the control key with the control key. And the capacity short text with the capacity short text. Capacity planner group goes to capacity planner group. The start time goes to start time. And the finish time goes to finish time. The capacity utilization rate to this. Length of break to length of break. Number of individual capacities with number of individual capacities. And unit of measure for the capacity. It goes here. Unit of, this is the base unit of measure for the capacity. And then the indicator So here these two are indicators, something that I can make it as a fixed value. So what I'll do, I'll select this item and maintain it as a constant. So I'll just select the value. It is yes, it will be an X or a checkbox, and the same for the long-term planning as well. So constant X. So I don't need to actually enter these fields or values in our template. So let me remove that. So the fields are KAPTR and KAPLAL. These two, I'm going to remove these. And now the capacity category. The start date. This is for the work center. Start date. And the end date for the work center. Sorry, the cost center view. And now the cost center. Okay, so now we have done the mapping. The next step is basically to define the fixed values and translation. So see, here we are not using any translations. So you just need to go into the change mode and return back. And the next step is basically to specify the files. So before we specify the file, we just need to make sure that we enter the data here. So let's start working on this. So my plant is 1000 and the work center is test 1, 2, 3, 4. So once we enter the work center, the next one is the work center category. The work center category is machine. So it is 001. Let's put it in text format. And the person responsible again 001. And the standard value key SAP1. And the control key PP01. And the capacity short text is test capacity. And the capacity planner group, let me take it from a reference. So the capacity planner group is 001. And now let's go to the start time. So the start time here is, let's say 08 10 00. So it starts at 8:10 and the finish time is, let's put it as 2010. Okay. And now the capacity utilization, let's keep it as 85%. Length of break is 1 hour. And sorry, I think it should be here in this particular format. And number of individuals, I'll keep it as 2. And now you have the unit of measure for capacity. It will be in hours HR. And the base unit of measure. So here we have the base unit of measure and here we have the capacity unit of measure. So I'll keep it as HR. And the capacity category for the scheduling, it is 001. Now it comes about the work center. So the start date, I would like to use it as 01.05.2024 with the end date of, let's put it as 10.June 2024. And now the cost center, we're going to use it as 1000. Okay. So this is my data. What I'm going to do is just copy the rows which has the heading as the field names along with your data. So let's do one thing. Let's put this into another row so that we are going to create another work center test 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we are going to create two work centers now. Create. Once you copy this data, we'll go to the folder where we are going to create a new notepad, a text document, and just paste it and then click on save. So here we need to be mindful that we have our field names as our headings in the upload file. So this is going to be our upload file. So work center upload file. Okay, so let's get back to SAP now. So here we are going to specify the files now. Go to the change mode. Since we are using this option to pick the data from an upload file that is on the PC. So go and click on create, and in this pop-up screen you can select the location of your file, which is in the new folder. This is going to be my upload file, and here you have to choose it as a tabulator. Sorry, and I'll have to mention the name, work center underscore upload file as UF, and you also need to mention that the field names are going to be at the starting of the file. So right, I mean, since in our upload file we have maintained the field names as well, right, the technical field names. So for that reason you have to check this particular option as well. And then the field order matches source structure definition. So this also should be activated, and the rest can be as it is. The file has been saved over here, and the next step is to assign files. Go to the change mode and then save. Back one step. Now click on read data. So in this step, system is going to read the data from the upload file. So we see that there are two records that have been read and also written, and in case there are any inconsistencies, then it shows the not written with some non-zero entries. Go back and now click on display read data. So whatever data has been read in our previous step can be displayed over here, just to make sure that the right fields are assigned with the right values over here. Okay. This is the second record, test 5, 6, 7, 8. And then convert data. So here we are converting the written data from our previous steps. So it says that two records have been written. And display convert data, this is an optional step, so you can ignore that. And the next one is to create a batch input session. So here you have to choose the same options to keep this particular input file into this particular folder, work center. Okay, so click on execute. One batch input folder with two transactions have been created. So now we are going to run the last step, which is to execute this particular record or the file. So choose this session and then click on process. So here you will see multiple options to process in the foreground or to display the errors. It means that the execution is going to stop at a place where there is an error, and then the last option to execute in the background. So I'm going to do it in the background and then choose these two options and then click on process. So now you will see a message that one session has been processed, sent for the processing in the background mode. So just come back one step and go back inside. So here we can see that there are few errors actually. Okay, so if it is a success, then it would end up with two records over here. So since we have errors, it means that there are two records in this particular category. So let's take a look what went wrong. So go to this create batch input session again. Now execute it. So we are going to create another entry into this folder and now process it to display the errors only. Okay. Yeah. So you see that the work center category 001, it does not exist, but because the work center category is actually with 4 characters, right? So I have entered it incorrectly in my screen, sorry, in my upload file. So what I can do is, if you have to stop this event, so you have to type in the code /bend and hit on enter. So now it actually stops here. So what I have to do is, I have to go back to my file and correct the entry. So here my work center category should be 0001. 0001, 3 zeros and 1. The same thing goes to the second record as well. So what I'll have to do, copy the data again and put it in the upload file. Delete, paste and save it. Don't worry about the sequence of the layout or the columns, okay? It will be adjusted by the system. So now let's go back here. Again, you have to start with this read option, but because you have uploaded a new set of data in the file, so you have to read it. So start with read data, and then convert data, and now create batch input session and run the batch input session. And this is our session process in the background, and click on this. So go back one step and execute this. So again we have an error. Let's see what is causing it. I'm going to create a new session now and process it with a display errors only option. So it is asking me to fill out the description of this particular work center, which is not part of my upload file. Okay, so we have to be mindful while you actually create these recordings and also do the mapping. But for now, what I'm going to do is, I'll process here manually. So test work center. Okay, and now click on continue. And the capacity category is also different. So I'm going to adjust it over here. And the cost center. Okay, so the start date and end date is basically a mismatch, right? So the cost center has been moved to the start date, and the start date, I guess it has been moved to the cost center. So what is the reason for that? So let's explore the error. So /bend. I'm going to exit this session. What I'll do is, I'll go back to the recording, LSMW, execute, and here, while specifying the files, so I have this particular option checked. It means that the field order matches the source structure definition. So that is the reason I believe it has been picking incorrect sequence. So here my fields in the upload file might not be in the same sequence, right? It need not to be in the same sequence actually. So for that reason, I have to uncheck this particular option. Now continue and save. So let's repeat the step again. Go to assign files, go to the change mode, save it, back one step, read data. Next, convert data. And create batch input session. So now I'm going to process this again in the foreground. Sorry, to stop where there are errors. Okay, it is with the description, that is fine. Test work center. Okay, So now the first record has been done. Now this is the second record, 5, 6, 7, 8, the work center name. So test work center. So I have provided these values, continue. And now you can see that the errors have been fixed. And we could see 2 records processed successfully. Provide the work center. And you can see that the values have been assigned automatically. Go to the capacities. And here we have it as 8:10. The start time as 8:10 a.m. and the finish time as 8:10 p.m. Length of break 1 hour. The capacity utilization, everything is as per the values that we have provided in the upload file. In the same way, let's go to the scheduling and now the costing. So valid from 1st of May till the 10th of June. The same way, let's check the other record, test 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we can see the work center categories, the person responsibilities, and the person responsible, and also the standard value key, the default values, the capacities, and also we have the date, time, and so on. And then the scheduling and now the costing. So all fields have been uploaded as per the upload file. So this is how basically the LSMW works in order to create or maybe change a master data in SAP.